Hi. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? I hope that you can hear me. Let me know. Um, okay, July is such a huge month. We have so much to talk about. I hope you got your piece of paper and a pencil and your chart. Hold on. I've got it going everywhere. Look, everything is just a disaster because a little puppy. He is the cutest little monster, but yeah, he got into my plant. So, and the background, he ruined the curtains, but he is adorable. Listen, the very first thing I want to tell you is that July is such a big month. I thought March was going to be the biggest month, but really, I think July has the most power and change in it. And I think we're really going to feel the nature of July. So I want to give you guys the best dates. I have so many pages of notes. Can you believe this? We're not going to do every single date, but I'm going to give you the biggest, most profound dates. It's so good to see everybody in the chat. Hi. I'm so glad you guys are here. I see everybody and I'm just so happy that you're all here. Aw, everyone from around the world. Hi. Okay, so let's start with on July 1st. July 1st is actually kind of a big day because the sun and Mercury are in the exact same spot. They are conjunct one another. And we also have the sun sextiling Jupiter. So we have that Cancer sun in that sextile to Jupiter. And I'm so sorry I can't share my screen with you because Zoom changed all of the configuration, and I don't know how to Zoom now. So if anybody knows how to run the new Zoom, they changed it all, and I can't find the setting. It's so infuriating. If you do, will you email me to teamsoulnavigation@gmail.com? They just changed it, because I could use the help for my next live. And then the last thing I wanted to say on July 1st, that Venus is going to square Uranus. So those are the first things that I want to talk about. So with the sun conjunct Mercury at 9 degrees Cancer, and I want you guys to look in your charts, look in your gorgeous natal charts and tell me in the chat or just look and see, where do you have 9 degrees Cancer? Because on July 1st, that's where this energy is going to take place. So you kind of want to know the subject in which July is lighting up for you. So you want to know what house you have Cancer energy in, and because it's going to get explosive. I mean, we're literally going to have fireworks. I'm so glad you guys are here. It's wonderful. What I want to tell you is on July 1st, it's a time of really big ideas. It's one of the better days of July. So I want you guys to take really, really good, I guess, action and care on this day. Like, make it the best that you can possibly make it. So July 1st ushers in these big ideas because you have the sun sextiling Jupiter and you have Mercury right there too. So it's a great day. I know that it's not the new moon, but I kind of want you to treat it like it is the new moon. Put your ideas into action on this day. This, Cancer energy is usually a time when we relax, but no. With Venus square Uranus, it's going to be explosive. It's just, you could be really, really powerful with your thoughts on July 1st. But I want to tell you what's a little bit twisted about this day. And that is, let me look on my chart just to make sure. We have Venus um, in a square exact to Uranus. So we have Venus at 21 degrees. Yeah, and it is literally exact at 21 degrees Leo, squaring that Uranus. And so I want to tell you that can bring in a lot of magic for you, and this is for anybody. But if you are a Taurus if you are a Cancer and if you are a Leo, or you wherever you have that energy in your chart, that is what this is lighting up, igniting, and touching. So now, okay, this is a great question from Ashley. This is happening, the sun sextiling Jupiter is happening at 9 degrees Cancer, but the square between Venus and Uranus is happening at 21 degrees Leo and 21 degrees Taurus. Okay, so they're kind of at the opposite ends of the spectrum. Yeah, and I would also say really mostly pay attention to the house that you have Cancer energy in, Leo energy in, and Taurus energy in, because those are the houses that are igniting. Those are the subject matters. So for me, I have Cancer energy in the 12th house, and then I have Taurus energy in the 10th house, right? So I would take a look at that and I would say, wow, something about my spirituality or my intuition or nurturing what? My 10th house, my career. So, it could be something like getting more spiritual around my career, maybe talking about more spiritual subjects, right? Because it's also Mercury is there. So the ideas might pop. I might talk more deeply in my readings or in my work or create deeper subject matter for my videos because the 12th house and the 10th house are talking to each other. Okay, I'm just reading your chats. Um this I just want to tell you this is going to be July 1st. It's going to be a little bit more tense if you are a fixed sign. So if you're a Scorpio, Leo, Taurus, or Aquarius, because those fixed signs are kind of in the direct line of fire. And I want to tell you with this Venus Uranus square, this is a time when you can be massively creative. Absolutely massively creative because Leo is in Venus and it's it is in that square aspect to Uranus in Taurus and and Uranus in Taurus has that secondary ruler, the dispositor Venus, right? So it's in a loop. And this is an innovative, creative loop. So this is a time when you can just be massively, massively creative. And what I want to tell you is on July 1st, jump into your project. So if you're wanting to write your book, if you're whatever you're wanting to do, start your project on July July 1st. And I would say jump in and take a risk. Now, I want to tell you with that Venus Uranus and sometimes with Mercury and Jupiter, you don't think of all the little details. So make sure you've done your research and make sure you are prepared. But that day is a really good day to take a risk. I think you should just weigh the pros and cons and maybe double check your work that you have all your ducks in a row because it's really easy to miss those details, but it's very electrical. And I also want to tell you that we could receive some shocking news on July 1st or something really surprising personally and also out there in the world. And I think though that it's a little bit of a wild card of a day, but I think if you put really solid energy into the day, you can get really surprising creative results. Um, Now I want to talk to you guys about the full moon in Capricorn on July 3rd. Let me just forward my clock. This full moon is really, really interesting. It's a super moon, and, it's actually gonna look really luminescent. So I want you guys to mark your calendars, and I want you to really look at the full moon on July 3rd. And I want you to also see if you can figure out in your gorgeous natal chart where 11 degrees Capricorn and Cancer sit, because this sits right at 11 degrees. And that's the house and those planets in your chart that are touching that 11-degree Cancer Capricorn axis. That's what's shifting. That is literally the subject matter and the arena of your life that you're having um, lit up, if you will. And I want to tell you that one of the interesting things that we're going to talk about, and this is towards the end of the month, but we've got this Pluto at 29 degrees and the nodes are going to shift. And this is big. And so you want to stay for this. Like the transits are going to get massive, absolutely massive. And I guarantee you, no matter where you are in the world, you will feel the shift. Um, but the moon is at on the 3rd of July, and just wait to hear about the 4th of July. The moon is on, it is at 11 degrees Capricorn, right? And Pluto is sitting at 29 degrees Capricorn. So we know that the moon is going to hit Pluto. It's going to connect with Pluto, which it does once a month. It does. Um, but for now, on July 3rd, we only have Pluto opposing, let's see. Yeah, opposing both Mercury and the sun. So when Pluto opposes Mercury, you can actually receive devastating news, hard news, news that forces you to transform, because not only is the moon opposing the sun, it's opposing Mercury too. And so your head and your heart might not be fully aligned on this day. Now, on July 4th, that's July 3rd. And so you're losing something on the 3rd. We'll go back into it, but I want to tell you about the 4th. On the 4th, the moon conjuncts, it sits right at that 29 degrees in Capricorn on Pluto. So when the moon is still in a very wide opposition to the sun, to Mercury, and it's conjunct Pluto, I know we're going to lose people on that day. I just know it. And so Pluto is death, it's destruction, it's divorce, it's loss. And so now on the day after the full moon, now we have a Pluto conjunction. So I really want you guys to pay attention to what the 3rd and the 4th bring in for you personally. And I want you to watch the world. This moon is in Capricorn and it's a super moon, and it's closer to Earth, or it appears that way. It will appear really big in the night. I hope we get a clear sky so we can see it. But let me go back to July 3rd. It's not all bad, okay? It's not all terrible on July 3rd, but because there's something really, really special with Jupiter. And Jupiter could save our bacon. It could save our day. So we have the full moon in Capricorn on that July 3rd. We have the sun still in sextile to Taurus in Jupiter. And that's kind of like, thank God, because you can really grow your garden simultaneously. And Jupiter is in a trine to the full moon in Capricorn. So it kind of does give us some blessings. There's something really special right now with that Jupiter in Taurus sextile to the sun in Cancer and also trine to the moon. So Jupiter is going to bring us in some good luck. And Jupiter is going to bring in something of abundance, something worthwhile. Um, and we can do something really enormously big with our energy right now. Like you can have a big pop, a big wow, a big wow factor. You can be really inspired right now and inspiring on July 3rd. This is July 3rd. I hope you guys are taking notes because the big dates are coming up. But there's gonna be some losses here too. Now, this is gonna be hard for cardinals, a little harder for cardinal signs, which is Aries and Libra and Capricorn and Cancer. And I think that, and I just got chills. I think this is going to be affecting you all maybe in the strongest way. You might feel it the most. However, sorry, it's probably really loud in the microphone. However, I want to tell every single person will feel this. It's because it's landing in your chart in the Capricorn Cancer axis of your life. And it's right there at that 11 degrees, Capricorn and Cancer. So you have to look for the house placement, even if you don't have any signs or any planets in the Capricorn, Cancer signs. You still have those as houses. And if you know your birth time, you'll know what houses those are. Um, I'm gonna say that it doesn't have to be an awful day because of that Jupiter, but I do think that you're being asked to eliminate something in your life, and it might be an old belief system that doesn't work any longer for you because Jupiter's in there. It might be, letting go of a relationship or saying goodbye to someone. It might be letting go of an old way of feeling, like how you have felt about something, changing your perspective. Now, the reason why I say these things is because the moon is opposing, um, the moon is opposing both the sun and Mercury. And so we have that full moon to Mercury too. So you might receive some Pluto messages. Like you might see the truth, you might see loss, you might receive a message of losing something or someone. You might have a goodbye day that day. But I would say on that day, this is on July 3rd. On that day, and even the 4th, July 3rd and 4th, don't just jump out of bed. Really set your intention before you put your feet on the ground. And, I just love all of you guys. I'm reading all your messages. I I got a little bit of criticism saying, "Don't talk to the chat so much. You're so annoying on the lives. Don't talk to the chat so much." I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And I just love you all. I see you all. Okay, the next day that I really wanna talk about, I want you guys to do something with this full moon, because there is going to be some sort of blessing and some sort of inspiration, but it's also on a day of a great reveal maybe of hard to hear news or it's kind of a win and a loss. It's when you're at the horse track and your one horse won and your one horse lost. Hi, 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 everybody. So on July 10th, this is really interesting. That Mercury moves to 29 degrees Cancer. So it opposes Pluto sitting there at 29 degrees Capricorn. Can this Pluto not move off that 29th degree? It's just awful. Um, yeah, this could also bring in relationship breakups, that's for sure. This could be where a friend moves away and it makes you sad. This could be a loss of maybe a job or a change in your job if it's in the 10th house or 6th house. Um, but what's really interesting is on that July 10th, Mercury at 29 degrees Cancer opposing Pluto at 29 degrees Capricorn. That's usually bad news. That's usually like not the greatest news. And the other interesting thing is now Mars is going to move into Virgo. And when Mercury is at 29 degrees, we sometimes don't feel motivated. We don't feel like we're in our best mindset. And you might feel a little bit blue or down or depressed or just lethargic. And if you're a water sign or a cardinal sign, that is probably going to hit you the deepest. So that is if you're a Pisces, a Cancer, a Scorpio, Aries, Libra, Capricorn, um you might need to really reframe the way you're approaching something, the way you're approaching your life, your relationships. You need a new approach. And you might also feel a little bit panicked, like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? There might be a little sense of panic. Um, Now, on this day, this is really interesting because, and this is the 10th of July, on this day, with Mars moving out of Leo and into Virgo, we start to get really particular and we start to get really perfectionistic. And we kind of go on a self improvement kick on July 10th. Now, what do we want to improve? Well, you have to look at, where is Virgo in your chart? Where is 0 degrees Virgo in your chart? Mine is in my first house. And so it would probably be a self-improvement kick around myself. Like, how do I want to improve myself? Um, okay, I'm just reading some of these questions. I have 29-degree Cancer in the ninth house and my Mercury in Leo. Yes. So Kimberly, this affects your ninth house. Um, and that's your belief systems. That's your highest self. So you might find that subject matters around the ninth house are really affected. Um, Now, I want to say that this is like kind of a remarkable placement for Virgo. Like, Virgo is really kind of lucky. I think maybe lucky isn't the word, but they get the biggest boost right now on July 10th. And one of the things I want to say is the self improvement kick works well also for Cancers and Tauruses and Scorpios, but Sagittarius and Pisces people kind of don't always stick to the program or the plan that Virgo wants to lay out. And so, if this is a new health and fitness plan, I think that Pisces and Sagittarius and Gemini might try it, might have good intentions, but might not be able to necessarily stick to it or follow through. So you'll have to make a deeper commitment to yourself to really get it right, to really stick to it. It's like, I think for Gemini, Sagittarius, and Pisces, life is going to get really, really, really frantically busy with that Mars in Virgo. Well, for everybody, it will. But these three signs are already mutable. They already have too much on their plate. Usually, they bite off more than they can chew. And they don't like all the tiny little chores and details that Virgo delegates to them. So it's almost like they're just too busy to even do their routines. And so Sagittarius is, I would say, slow down and pick the most important things that you want to work on and do them really, really well. Otherwise, you could really give yourself a panic attack, um, a literal one or metaphoric one. Yes, you're going to be very, very busy. Um, I hope this date is okay for my Virgo dad to have surgery because I'm so worried. I would say if he has to have surgery, you go with it. If it's elective, um, and you had choices, I might look at other dates, but if it's necessary, you just go for it. Absolutely. And the Virgo Mars is in good relationship to the Jupiter and the Uranus in Taurus. And the Virgo Mars likes the Cancer Sun and the Mercury um, in Cancer. And it also likes Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto is retrograding over my descendant at 2 degrees. You mean when it gets to Aquarius? Is this point only your spouse? No. The seventh house is people in your life, business partners, marriage partner, but it is um, people in your life. It's your relationships. And so maybe your relationships need to be remastered a little bit. Okay, let's talk about July 11th. Mercury is going to move into Leo now. And this, I want to invite you guys to create your new thing when Mercury is in Leo. It moves so fast. Mercury doesn't move as fast as the moon, but I'm telling you, it is just super fast right now. This is a great time for fire signs and Libra and Gemini to create their masterpiece. Like, this is a time when you need to promote it, create it, market it, sell it, promote it. This is a great time for you to get a new side hustle, create something that you've always wanted to create, write your song, write your book, something. This is really, really um powerful. Definitive edge. Which house affects the loss of family? What do I look at? Well, the third house would be your siblings. The fourth house would be your family. And the fifth house could be your children. Um, so listen to this. Mercury is only going to stay in that powerhouse creative energy until the 28th of July. So did I say that right? Yeah. So that's how fast it's moving. Hold on, let me just double check that for you. And so what I'm saying is I want you to grab it. Yeah, it's just until the 28th of July. That's how fast. So you have like 2 weeks basically to do something really, really creative with your life. There's a little bit of a tricky point with this July 11th day. That's why this July is so twisted and it has so much in it. It's got layers in the days. Um, so let me go back to my chart here. Hold on one second. And I'm so sorry I can't put my chart up because Zoom changed the configuration and I'm not in Zoom and I don't know how to share my screen. So if anybody knows how to use the new Zoom, since they changed the configurations on a live for YouTube, will you email me, please, teamsoulnavigation@gmail.com. Now, um, okay, so this is what I wanted to tell you guys. It's the moon. The moon on this day, July 11th, it is exact, it is conjunct Jupiter, which is so lovely. But late into the night on the 11th and on the early morning of the 12th, the moon then becomes conjunct to Uranus. And that brings in really unstable emotions. And, whenever you have the moon conjunct Uranus, it's sort of like hugging a tumbleweed. That's my analogy. It's like electric shock, right? And it can be very shocking. It can be very unnerving. You could feel 1,000 things. You could feel like unhinged. You could receive that energy from the world. That could be like ridiculous road rage. And it's really, really unstable. So I wanted to tell you guys on July 12th to just be very highly aware of your emotions. And this is going to be hard. Well, this is going to be deeply felt by Scorpios, Scorpio, anything that you have in your chart, and also Tauruses. And then I think it's going to be agitating for Aquariuses and Leos. Um, Now, let me tell you the good side to that. With the right attitude and the right energy, you could have a massively good breakthrough. You could have something so positively shocking, um, but just bring your good attitude. I would play the lottery with this. I would. Oh, Real America 44 says, "I always expect to be unstable that day. That's my grandma's anniversary of her death." And I'm a Scorpio. Yeah. Oh, of her birthday, the anniversary of her birthday. She must have passed away. I'm sorry. Miss her. Um, Now I wanna talk about July 11th a little bit more, and I want you to write this down. This is the very last day. So you guys all know I'm an evolutionary astrologer. I'm not a traditional astrologer. I'm not a Hellenistic astrologer. I'm not a Vedic astrologer. I'm an evolutionary astrologer. What is the first sign um, in an astrologer when they give themselves away that they're an evolutionary astrologer? They talk obsessively about the importance of the nodes. Right? And the nodes are critical, and they believe in reincarnation and that they believe that your story is your past life and your next life is told through the nodes. So there's a spiritual aspect to evolutionary astrology. So I just wanted to put that out there. So on the 11th, this is the very last day. The nodes have been in Scorpio and Taurus for 2.5 years. And so they are on that very, very last degree. Now, the thing about the nodes, there's two things that I want to tell you guys. Let me just change my chart. I've got my gorgeous natal chart right here. I hope you guys all have your gorgeous natal chart in front of you. I make them so easy to read. It's really hard to read right here, but um okay. So the nodes go backwards, and so they're at 0 degrees on this day and on July 11th. And, well, on July 12th is the day that they change, and they're gonna move to 29 degrees. So they start at the 29th degree, and they then it goes 28, 27, 26, 25. Okay, until it gets to 0. So, on the 11th, the nodes are at that 0 degree. Well, you guys know how I feel about the 29th degree and the 0 degree. That is really, really big. So, it's going to be at the 0 degree on the 11th and part of the 12th, and then it moves to 29 degrees, Aries and, uh, Libra. So Libra is the south node now, collectively for all of us, and on July 12th, and Aries is the north node. So anybody who is an Aries or a Libra, or if you have your nodes in Aries and Libra, this is a massively, massively big time in your life. And let me tell you, it is really potent. So, I mean, there's no getting around the nodes. That's why I am an evolutionary astrologer. And so, um, if you have your south node in Libra, you're having a nodal axis return over the next 2.5 years. And it's at 29 degrees. And then it goes 28, 27. It takes 2.5 years to get to 0. I'm going to talk more about that in a minute because it's just so important. And I wanna tell you also, I am gonna do a whole entire video on the nodes shifting. Um, so I wanna say this one little tiny thing, and that is on July 12th, and the node shifts to Aries. Hold on, let me see. Let me just see one thing. I have to just do one thing for you guys. Okay, hang on. Yeah. So the North Node in Aries, right, on July 12th, it's going to be sitting at that 0 degrees. But Chiron is at 19 degrees. And what did I want to say about that to you guys? Oh, So we are when when that north node comes within 10 degrees of Chiron, okay, we have an opportunity to collectively heal and to really figure out what we want to heal in the world. And so we're going to be asking ourselves when, and I'm going to do a whole video on the nodes. So I'll give you the dates for all of that. And it's probably going to take about a year to get there, 6 months to a year for us to even start the healing journey. But I think you're going to see the conversation out there in the world shift to really saving ourselves, and what is worth fighting for, what is worth a battle, and which parts of ourselves do we want to heal. And there will be a big focus on healing when that north node conjuncts Chiron or even gets within 10 degrees of Chiron. So let's talk about July 17th. Okay. And Allie says, I'm having my Chiron return. Okay. You're having your Chiron return. And that also means that the north node will be transiting and conjuncting your Chiron. So, Allie, you have some big healing job, or you get to be a healer, or you get to step into the wisdom of healing, or you will be healed of something. Let's talk about this new moon on the 17th. And I have just a couple more really, really, really important dates for you this month. And you have to know about these dates. But, you know, I would say the new moon is great. Let me move my chart just so I can see what I'm talking about. But it's sitting at, hold on. It's sitting at 24, 25 degrees Cancer. And so this is crazy. So we get this new glorious great new moon, right? We all love the new moons. But guess what? It's opposing that Pluto at 29 degrees Capricorn. And so it annoys me. It's like, I don't want that Capricorn Pluto anymore. I'm so done with it. So let me tell you about the trick inside this new moon. In many ways, it feels much like the full moon felt. Because it's opposing Pluto. Um, so this new moon is going to usher in something brand new for you. Yay, yippee yahoo. You are going to have a brand new beginning. Where is Cancer in your chart? But just remember that Pluto is opposing it. Did you guys watch my oppositions video? That would be a great video for you guys to watch if you want to understand oppositions a little bit more. Um, so there's a new start, there's a fresh start, there's a new beginning and a new birth, and that is wonderful. And there's also a loss. There's a loss of something. So so we're going to see this play out. There's going to be a big power play in the world. One person losing, the other person winning, then the other person losing, then the other person winning. And there's losses, great losses and great wins. So I want to give you this analogy because I know this feeling all too well. So you guys probably all know, if you're on this live, that I lost my beloved dog, Teddy, and he was my soul dog. He was like my best friend in the whole wide world. It was just so devastating. The grief just was so awful, and a lot of you watched my grief with me. Um, I couldn't eat, get out of bed. It was just terrible. Anyways, fast forward, the only thing that made me happy was getting a new puppy. And so we got a new adorable puppy, Bo, who's outside barking his little butt off. He's so cute. And so I got this new puppy and I'm just so grateful for him. I don't even think I'd make it through the days now without Bo. But the loss is still there. It's still felt inside of me. And Bo, uh, yes, he's kind of healed that loss, but also not really, right? So there's a loss and a birth. And that is what this new moon feels like. I love Bo. Oh my gosh. And that is the new beginning. And that eclipses, right? Everything, truthfully, because and I want to focus on all the good things around that. I don't want to live in the grief of the loss. Um, but that is also still simultaneously there. So on this day, July 17th, this is what this new moon feels like. You're probably going to be birthing something new, but you will also maybe be losing something. And that's why this new moon, for any videos you're watching out there where people are like, oh, this new moon is just so great. Uh, the story is more complicated than that. Thank you all. You all are so sweet. Um, and okay, so I'm about to give birth on August 29th. I'm not excited for a loss though. So a loss could just be your freedom. When you have a little baby, yeah, the thing you don't get anymore is me time. There's no me time. Like good luck trying to take a shower even, right? It's very difficult. You need a good support system. Um so I also want to tell you guys to mark your calendar for July 17th. I think July we're going to see a lot of shifts in the world, in the global world. Um so around July 20th, I want you guys to brace yourselves. This is when it gets really big time. Um wow. I'm just reading all of your comments. Okay. So July 20th, Mars is in Virgo. I like to look at my chart. Um, Mars is in Virgo and it directly opposes Saturn. So I think on July 20th, we will see a power play between probably men. Um, and it will be just kind of, I think, crazy. But there's a battle here. And there's going to be a battle inside of you on what do you really want to spend your time doing and what is worth, you know, fighting for. So Mars is like, I want to go ahead. I want to move forward. I want to make this thing happen. And Saturn is saying, no, you're not allowed to do that. You can't do that. I want to get a divorce and leave my abusive partner, and I want to fly, and I want to be able to really take on the world. And Saturn says, oh, you can't leave. You're obligated. You need to stay. You're going to be broke if you leave. Your kids aren't going to like you, right? And Saturn talks you out of the plan that Mars wants you to do. But and so you feel torn between 2 things. You feel, "No, I can't do that," and, "Yes, I wanna do that. I'll die if I don't do the thing that I wanna do." And Saturn will tell you, "You don't deserve it. You're not good enough. You're not powerful enough. You're not strong enough." Saturn will literally talk you out of it. Mhm. And out there in the world, you're gonna see a power play, just kind of a mean-spirited battle. Um, and it's hard for Mars to win with Saturn. It just is. Saturn usually wins, but this is what I want to tell you to do with the energy, okay? And also, I have to tell you, remember, Mars is in Virgo, Saturn is in Pisces. So these are mutable signs. So this is really important that you listen to this. Um, how are you going to win this? Now, this is going to be very difficult for anybody who has big planets in Virgo and big planets in Pisces. That could be your sun, Mercury, moon, Jupiter, any planets really. And if you have a lot of them, and this is going to be kind of challenging for Sagittarius and Gemini too, because they're square to both of those planets, signs. So this is what I want to tell you. Your goals, okay, your plan of action has to be adjusted a little bit. So you might need to get realistic. You might need to get a new office space. You might need to somehow switch it up a little bit. And because it's mutable, how you win the Mars Saturn opposition battle in Virgo and Pisces is you adapt. So you're probably going to need to be able to be flexible and adaptable and don't stay stuck. Do the Mars, but do it with hard work, do it with caution, do it carefully so you don't piss Saturn off, right? Double check your work and do it methodically and do it respectfully. So, like, respect yourself. So, let's say you're saying goodbye to a partner and you're breaking things off. Do it respectfully. Don't do it, lighting the whole house on fire metaphorically. Do it respectfully. Leave with class and grace and, quietly have your bags packed. But do not stay in an old situation. And this could even be somebody said, "What about your ascendant in Virgo, Jamie?" Well, this is about yourself. So, how do you need to be more flexible and adaptable and less critical with yourself? What plan and program do you want to execute right now, because something's shifting and something's changing if this is your ascendant about your own self, and it needs to, and you're being encouraged to create a change, but a smart change. Saturn wants it smart. You have to be able to integrate Saturn's saying no. Saturn is the adult in the relationship with Mars. Saturn is saying, no, you're not prepared. No, you're not prepared for that camping trip. And no, you can't go. And do you know how to survive in the wilderness if you get lost? And Mars is saying, screw that. I am going. I've got a flashlight and a bag of berries. I'll be fine. So what I'm saying is don't be impetuous around the things that you want. Do it the grown-up way, right? Like, really make sure that you have everything put together. Um, I think this is also gonna be a little bit of a hard time for fixed signs, not just those other mutables. And this is July 20th, and brace yourself for the next few days because it's gonna get really difficult. But I think the fixed signs are gonna struggle with this. Um, and and that's because fixed signs, when they get stressed out, they dig in deeper to what they know. And with this Mars opposing Saturn, you're being asked to sort of do it different and be adaptable. And the changes that are required are going to be fleeting and very, very fast, because Mars in Virgo is fast. It doesn't mess around. And it brings maybe even hard news to our lives, and it might be at rapid fire. And fixed signs don't move rapidly like that so easily. Um, you might be frustrated not knowing what to do and which way to go. And what I'm saying is just don't make a rash decision right now. Just make sure you have everything you need for your camping trip. Virgo Mars wants you to focus on all the teeny weeny details. And Saturn in Pisces says, no, I want you to understand the big picture here. And you need to integrate both energies. You need to integrate the teeny weeny details and also what's good for the big picture. So not just what's in it for you, but what will help advance this. That's how you work with um the two energies. You guys are adorable. Um yeah. So listen to this. So now we know that we've had the nodes change. And by the way, you're going to feel the nodes change. And this is the whole reason why I'm an evolutionary astrologer, especially if you have Aries and Libra in your chart. Um, and hold on one second. Let me just, and that's July 11th and 12th. You guys are going to feel it, but you're going to massively feel July 21st energy. And already on the 20th, you're going to feel that. But on the 21st, this is so crazy. Let me just double check my work. Okay. Did you guys see my video on the Grand Cross? I hope you saw my video on the Grand Square, the Grand Cross. So we have a Grand Cross that day. And that is between the sun. Oh, Not only do we have a grand cross, we have a grand cross at the 29th degree, which is the degree of loss, the degree of sadness, the degree of melancholy. Did you guys see my video on the 29th degree? I think that's a members only video. I'm not sure. Oh, no, that's not. That's not. I have a video called the 0 degrees, 15th degree, and 29th degree. It's all in one video. You should watch that. So on the 21st, we have a grand cross, a grand square at the 29th degree, Sun in Cancer, 29th degree, Pluto in Capricorn. And then the nodes are at the 29th degree. The south node is in Libra at 29 degrees, and the north node is in Aries. So we have this grand square. I will be really honest with you, and I'm not a doom and gloomer, but I am very nervous about this day and this energy. So mark your calendar. Now, I want to tell you, it doesn't always happen bullseye on the day. Sometimes it's a few days before, a few days after. So if big news happened on July 20th, that would be the energy of this grand cross coming in because we work with orbs. So out in the world, I think this is a massively important day. If this is in your life, it's a little bit different, and I'll tell you about that in a second. Um, so I do want to ask you if you've got something sitting at 29 degrees Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, or Libra. It doesn't matter what you have there, it's going to be ignited. And then think of it like fire. I know this isn't fire, but think of what if you have something at 29 degrees Capricorn, well, Pluto's sitting there. So that's already being ignited. But now it's igniting to all four corners. And what does that mean? Well, squares bring in change. Squares bring in big lessons. And squares don't always create loss, but they do create challenge. They create big challenges. In the world, I think we will see something very, very difficult. But in your personal life, you could be challenged to just rise to the occasion. And if you don't take on the challenge, you will feel like a part of you might die. Like, I've got to do this thing in life, or I've got to, um, uh, I don't know. I've got to participate in my life in some way. If I don't, I'll wreck myself. I'll ruin myself. I won't be fulfilled. I won't be happy. So there will be a big energy and a big drive inside of you. Um, Okay, and if you don't have a planet there, but this is a cusp of yours, well, that whole house and the message around the 4 houses are going to be ignited, and so for the 3rd house, this could be siblings, but this is for alien, this could also be about learning something new or communicating or using your voice. Um, I've got to tell you something super, super important, okay? This is a technical thing. So, I use the mean nodes, the mean nodes. I do not use the true nodes. I use the mean nodes. I believe in the mean nodes. They work for me. If you use the true nodes, knock yourself out. That's great. I don't think anything poorly about that. They just don't work for me as well. So, if you're listening to other videos and people are giving the dates of the nodes changing on the 16th, 17th, or 18th, or they're giving you different dates than me, it's because they use the true nodes. Okay. So I just wanted you to know. So chances are something's going to happen in between the 16th and the 21st. When I say something's going to happen, I'm telling you the world is going to shift. So, and I can tell you what I think it's about later, but when the nodes are sitting at the 29th degree of Aries and Libra, we're ushering in a whole new karmic contract. And it's the very first degree of entrance because the nodes go backwards. And Aries and Libra people are on deck. And if you have your south node in Libra and your north node in Aries, you're having something called a nodal axis return. And there's blessings and there's hardships. So in my nodal axis return, I experienced, well, it was during COVID. So I experienced a lot of loss around that, deep, sad loss, Scorpio, the loss of my dog. And I lost people, beloved people. And I also got really ill with COVID myself. God, that was terrible. And but at the same time, I feel like my whole business has launched in a completely different way. So, and that's exciting. I love being here with you because that was the North Node in Taurus in my 10th house and my workshops. And my workshops are taking off. And if you guys want to learn astrology with me, I'm going to Barcelona, Spain. And I am so excited. I can't even begin to tell you. And I have the cutest space. And we're going to have tapas and drinks on the rooftop. And we're going to learn deep astrology. And I'm changing the curriculum a little bit, but I'm going to teach you all about your spiritual evolution through Neptune. I haven't done any videos on Neptune. I'm going to teach you predictive timing techniques, how to forecast, how to use astrology and make predictions. And then I am also going to, instead of teaching you how to read the natal chart, I'm going to teach you about synastry. So, how you put your chart together with another person's chart and you see what they do for you. So, it's going to be riveting. And if you guys want tickets for that, you can just go to my website, soulnavigation.com, and you can click on retreats and workshops. And there's tons and tons of information about what we're going to do. We're going to go to a flamenco show. It's going to be fabulous. I cannot wait. But that's how my business changed. So, what a blessing, right? To be able to reach more people, to be able to step into teaching more. And I'm still doing my daily readings and I'm booked through August, but that's all I did before. And so now that North Node is going to bring in something new for you, especially if you have your North Node in Aries. This is going to be a massively important time because, and I'm going to do a whole video on this later, but I just want you to know how important these nodes are. These nodes are creating a little seed for something that you're going to grow over the next 30 years. So the seed that I was talking about, my workshops, my retreats, I have a feeling that that's going to grow. That part is going to grow over the next hopefully 30 years. I hope I'm on the planet with you guys. Um, but the South Node does bring in hard stuff to deal with. Um, so Aries and Libra, you guys are on deck. And if you're an Aries rising, this is really big. If you have Aries on an angle, if you have Aries in the 10th house, this is really, really, really big. This is a big life changing next 2.5 years for you. You guys are so cute. Um, Now, I find it absolutely unbelievable that we're sitting with a grand square with the nodes because it is our karmic contract collectively. Um, and it is just a massive, massive, massive day. I know there's going to be loss in it because of the South Node and Pluto. So, what this means is Pluto is squaring the nodal axis and the sun is also squaring the nodal axis. And when that happens, yes, the north node is activated. It brings us some higher, better way of being, but it also takes something away. Are you seeing the theme in July? It's really crazy. So many new beginnings to be excited for, but they come with losses. They come with losing something too. Um, so wherever you have Cancer, Capricorn, Aries, or Libra in those late degrees between 20 and 29, that's where this grand cross is triggering. That's where it's lighting up your chart. That's where it's saying you need to rise to the occasion, take on the challenge, and change. There are some good things too, Ashley. So Ashley says, "I'm not excited. My life has been traumatizing for the last 7 years, and I don't know if I can take any more." So what I want you to do is listen to the wins, right? Like, really f and every that's a good reminder for everybody that it's not all doom and gloom, and I'm actually a really optimistic person. I know it's hard to believe with this, right, with the all the news that I'm saying, but I'm also very honest, and I want you to prepare for the hard days, because if you prepare for them, you can make them sweeter and better. It's kind of like my story with my dogs. My life is so much sweeter with my new puppy. Well, I manifested that, and I made that happen. And I'm kind of afraid, had I not done that, I would still be in the grief, like unbearable grief. So take these dates, and that on that July 21st date, the July 20th, July 21st, and really rise up in your best energy and put something forward that will be super inspiring for you. And if you get a challenge, probably take it rather than let it go, because something is wanting to spark right now. Something is wanting to be created. Um, so July 22nd, the sun moves into Leo, but Venus goes retrograde. Now, this is so important for you guys to know. All of it's important, but this is really, really critical that you know this. Venus goes retrograde in Leo at 28 degrees. Um, and now the sun is at Leo at 0 degrees. So the sun is still opposing Pluto at 29 degrees Capricorn. Now, those signs, Leo and Capricorn, are they're in an opposition because we've got Capricorn at the 29th degree, and then we have a 0 degree Leo moon. Um, they're still opposite. They're just out of sign. Um, and so on July 22nd, it's another big stick of dynamite day. But Venus has slammed on her brakes and she's like, I'm going inward. And I have a whole video on what is Venus in retrograde. And I really recommend that I really recommend that you guys watch that. No, it's not a quincunx because um self-made asked if it's a quincunx. No, because it's 1 degree away from an exact opposition. So if Pluto moved to 0 degrees Aquarius, well, with the 0 degrees sun in Leo, that's an exact opposition. It's only 1 degree off of being an exact opposition. Um, so that's why it's not a quincunx. But that was a good question. That was a really good question because it would be a quincunx if it was a lot farther away. Um, okay. So let's keep going. I'm not doing signs, I'm doing days. And these days will affect all of you, every single one of you, but they will affect the different parts of your chart that I'm talking about and the different subject matters. Um, so listen to this Venus going retrograde. Again, watch my Venus in retrograde video. Um, Venus is going to stay in retrograde until September 3rd. So if you live in the United States, it's basically Labor Day weekend. Mm. I really want to stress this, okay? I like telling you guys the real things. Don't start a new relationship when Venus is in retrograde. If you already know somebody and they're coming back into your life and you want to try again, that's fine. That probably is likely to happen. But if you meet somebody brand new between July 22nd and September 3rd, I would say be friends. Just be friends. You can talk, you can do whatever, but don't make it romantic or make a commitment until September 4th. And I say this because it is just unlikely that it can really hold its commitment if you pledge it during that time. The other thing is I would not do anything around surgery for beauty. So do not go and get your face. You can get Botox or get a facial or whatever. You can get your lashes done or your nails, who cares? But I'm talking surgery, like the knife. No, 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 no. Do not do that. Do not do beautification, high impact surgery. If you want to do a laser, maybe, um, maybe I probably would just wait. Um, I really appreciate that. Okay, T Jeff, I really wanted liposuction. You great. Book your appointment now. They might be able to get you in October, right? Don't do it don't do a big surgery like that during Venus in retrograde. I don't even think I would do a like what's it called? A gastro. I don't think I would do like the gastro sleeve either. I don't think I would do that. I definitely would not do liposuction. It's just a time when Venus is in retrograde. It is a time when we redefine beauty. It is a time, um, yeah, like nothing that they need to put you under for, unless you have to have like a hip replacement. If you have to have a surgery, oh my gosh, don't put it off. The beautification process is really what I'm kind of attached to on this one. Um, let's see. Oh, when it goes direct, okay, so I just want to tell you guys something here. So, um, it is going to go backwards to 12 degrees Leo. So when it goes direct again, it's going to be direct. Venus will be direct at 12 degrees Leo, and that will be September 4th. So that's kind of an interesting time. So wherever you have 12 degrees Leo, that is kind of an ignition for something creative. And I think that September 4th, you'll feel love, you'll feel beauty, you'll feel inspired, you'll feel like you're kind of alive. And that part of your chart um is that part of your chart is lighting up. So Sonia says, my sister is having major surgery in mid-July in amputation. She's a Virgo ascendant Sag sun. Oh, that's so hard, Sonia. That is so hard. Okay, well, you said mid-July, and this is July 22nd. So it seems like she will already have that. But then Venus is in retrograde. And guess what? When you have an amputation, you're probably redefining the concept of beauty. And so we are redefining beauty. And one thing I will say, when Venus goes into retrograde, we start to value the natural. We start to value natural beauty a little bit more. We really kind of lose our hangups around, perfect lips, perfect boobs, perfect skin, perfect hair, whatever. Um, so I want to tell you another thing that I think is going to happen when this Venus goes into retrograde, because it's in Leo, and Leo is oftentimes about children. I think that this is going to put women's issues way up front. So I think we're going to be talking a lot about abortion rights, about women, about who our value system around women's rights, maybe even gender rights, changing genders, and about who we're allowed to love legally, the laws around marriage, equality, and abortion. And so just watch for that around those dates, until about September. So July 22nd through September 4th. I think you're going to see those issues really, really loud. People might, feel really passionately about it because they're wanting to be redefined, and not everybody wants them redefined. For you personally, I think it's an opportunity for you to redefine your what you value, about beauty, but also about yourself and about the women in your life and how you want to express yourself. Venus wants you to slow down and reevaluate your whole value system. Um, you know, I was my little nephew's staying with me and he's 12 years old. And I said, "Do you know what a value system is?" And he said, "No." And I was like, "What in your life is the most important to you? What is worth fighting for? What is just the most important things in life that you value?" And so these might get shifted around a little bit for you right now, or reevaluated, or you might study them, or you might start paying attention. Like, wow, I never really valued my parents. And now you're having an epiphany around everything that they ever did for you. And that might not be your story, but that's just an idea or an example. Um, but because this is happening in Leo, out there in the world, I think it's gonna be huge drama, like just huge, ridiculous dramas that, um yeah, huge, just ridiculous dramas. And what does the world really want for itself? What do we really value? I also wanted to say that I think this is gonna be something very big with Zelensky. I've done his chart, I don't have it memorized, but keep your eye, of course, on Ukraine and Russia and Zelensky. I find it interesting. He's a Leo. I think he's a Leo. Yeah. And I think Putin's a Libra. I've done both their charts. I forget. But, with that grand cross, that grand square with Leo in retrograde, I mean, Venus in retrograde in Leo, maybe he gets his land back because Venus is also about the earth. So we just have a couple more days to do, which are kind of interesting. But I want to take a chance after this to talk to you guys. So on the 27th, Mercury and Venus are sandwiched together. So I think we'll get some decent news or good news. When Venus and Mercury are together, there's something sweet um, about the news. Now, we don't have a Mercury in retrograde. I want you guys to know about Mercury in retrograde in advance so you can get your stuff done until August 23rd. Okay. So, like, you're free from retrograde, Mercury in retrograde. You just have to deal with the Venus in retrograde. And Venus in retrograde is nothing like Mercury in retrograde. Venus in retrograde is not as irritating and annoying. It's not like a little, chipmunk just gnawing at you, poking at you. It's more of a reevaluation, and it operates in a bigger way, so it's not just grinding you down. And then on July 28th, Mercury moves into Virgo, and so here we are again, when Mercury moves into Virgo, on July 28th, I think we start to focus on health, wellness, being useful, being productive. How can we be helpful? And one of the things I wanted to tell you guys is everything, if you're new to my channel, everything that you can do at Soul Navigation. So you can go to my website, soulnavigation.com. You can look at my jewelry. I have intention jewelry to use on the moons, new moon and full moon. I love using my intention jewelry when I'm trying to manifest. And you can buy a chart, a gorgeous natal chart, and tons of reports. The Soul's Design. I also really recommend that you get the child's report for yourself and for your children. The Solar Return Report is out of this world. If you kind of feel like, gosh, like what that lovely soul said, my life has been traumatic for 7 years. Look at your solar return chart. Your solar return chart might really bring you blessings that you're unaware of. And I like knowing about my blessings. It is just such a great chart. Also, you can learn astrology with me if you can't come to Barcelona, Spain in October. I'm having my next retreat in May in Seattle, the third weekend in Seattle. And it was just so amazing. It was really, really transformative. I thought I was showing up to just teach a 3-day class. And it turned out that we all had a transformative retreat together. And it transformed my life too. And it was very, very deep and very, very profound. yeah, inspired by Anna was there, and I love you. I loved having you there. And it was really moving, and so I wanna do it again, and, uh, my second biggest market is Europe, so I wanted to bring my next retreat to Europe. I'm gonna make my way to Australia, I promise, at some point, and I would love to go to South America. But those are big journeys. Right now, I just have to get through Barcelona, Spain. So if you guys wanna learn with me, you can just go to soulnavigation.com, click on Meredith's Astrology Workshop and Retreat, and you can see all the details there. But if you can't make it there, you can just click on the Learn Astrology tab, and I have 2 master classes. I also am gonna do more a little deeper dive, for my members only. So if you are a member, if you have joined, I'm gonna do a members only video coming up here about the nodes and the transits. Hi from Holland. Do you guys have any questions? We can take questions now because I'm gonna talk to the chat, and other people can just sign off if they don't wanna hear the questions. Um, I will come next year, absolutely. So plan on it in May. Come to Denmark. God, I'd love to. My problem is that it was, in October, so I thought Spain's weather was a little bit nicer for October, but I don't speak Spanish, so come speak Spanish for me. Do you guys have any questions? Okay, so next May in Seattle, it's gonna be the 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 26th of May. Your chart is really easy to look at. It's beautiful. I use mine to study. Thank you. I do feel like my gorgeous natal chart, if you guys don't have one, I feel like it's just so much easier to look at and to work with than the free natal chart that you can get online. I can't even figure out the cusps. Um, oh, there's Christina. Hi, Christina. Great live, Meredith. I'm more prepared for July. Jill, Meredith, if you have your South Node in Libra, does that mean relationships should not be your focus? No, it's more about relationships that will empower your independence. Your focus should be not being trapped by a codependent relationship, but you will be masterful at relationships. You've been doing them for lifetimes. And so, yeah, you don't want to waste your gifts on just nothingness. You want to have relationships, but you want to be with people that foster independence and not codependency for you. Um, Verity says, looking forward to the nodal change video. South node is going to hit major planets. And when that south node hits major planets, big pieces of your life will want to be reworked or dealt with. Past karmic issues. That's what happened to me when the south node crossed like 3 of my planets. Um, Big issues came up for me to probably learn how to deal with loss. Is it advisable to buy a house during Venus in retrograde? Wow. I don't think that is the best time, but if you have to, and if that's the only time, I might, but I definitely would get an inspection and I would look for the things that, behind the walls that I can't see. Um, I don't think I would pick that time to buy a house, but I don't like making a big major investment like that when Venus is in retrograde, to tell you the truth. But if you have to, just do your due diligence. Meredith, will you be doing a short on the nodes with the part of fortune? I don't think I have that in there. I already built that series, so it's just uploading. Are you guys watching my shorts? Oh my gosh, I have so much fun doing those shorts. I don't think I put the nodes with the part of fortune. Um, and the nodes, I just don't really count with the part of fortune because the part of fortune is just a space in the sky. It's just a measurement. and so are the nodes. So it's just two spaces in the sky talking to each other. So I don't think about that combination too often. Um, Venus in retrograde is the end of July to the very beginning of September. So it's about 6 weeks. Um, I have the north node, hold on. I have the north node in the 5th house. What will this be like for me? I don't have children. That's about you massively, T. Jeff, getting into creativity, having fun with your life, finding joy in your life again, being really, really finding your uniqueness and creating something new for yourself that brings you happiness and joy, kind of being willing to take a risk, stepping into your confidence. The North Node in the 5th house is kind of a fun place to have the North Node. I love your shorts. Oh, thank you. Would love another Zoom with tickets for chart readings. O'Hara. I love that. I am going to do one. I'm definitely going to do a members only Zoom party before October. I just didn't have my date set yet, so I haven't advertised it. Um, Sanford and Son. That's my husband's touch. Love your shorts. Is the part of fortune the same as the North Node? My natal chart has the fortune next to my Gemini, which is placed above the South Node. No, the part of fortune is not the same as the North Node. The North Node brings you giant karmic lessons. The part of fortune is just sort of like a guardian angel, or it's blessings, and it's where you delight in life. So it's the part of your life that is probably delightful. The part of fortune takes the edge off of things. The North Node is kind of like broccoli, where you want to eat ice cream, the South Node, but you know it's not good for you. The North Node is your highest self, but you have to cultivate it. You have to grow it, and it's painful, right? It's painful to grow your very best self, to I don't know, get straight A's, go to college. Let's just say that was your version of your very best self. That's like broccoli. I mean, that takes discipline and hard work. And the part of fortune is a little like sprinkles on the cupcake. Would you travel to a different country to work and make more income and leave kids with dad during Venus in retrograde? I think so. I think I would do that. Leave dad with the kids during Venus in retrograde. Yeah, and it will probably be a really good time to redefine their relationship in a way. Um, Broccoli, yeah. Can you explain the antivertex? Well, the antivertex is the exact opposite space of the vertex. And did you watch my vertex video? I hope you did. So when the antivertex is whatever degree you have, whatever degree and sign you have your antivertex at, when a planet sits on your antivertex, it's actually triggering your vertex. So no, it's not negative. Um, but when I do want to say that the vertex brings in a soul connection. And so when the planet crosses the antivertex, it's also a soul connection. On the 21st July is my solar return. What should I wait for with the grand square? That's Vasya. And thank you for being a member. I really appreciate your memberships. All really, really help me. Well, Vasya, I would say you're going to be challenged in your life to grow yourself. You're going to receive big challenges to change things up. And so I would stay really flexible and adaptable around what changes are coming in. You're probably, Vasya, going to see those changes come in mid July, like, before the 21st. You'll probably see them like what wants to be changed around even the 10th of July through the end of July. And so with a grand square like that, Um, with a grand square like that, something massively about your life wants to elevate, probably through some hard work, through tension, through challenges. Now, it isn't always bad. Like, I feel sorry for the woman who was like, my life has been trauma for 7 years. Um, it isn't always bad, but it usually is hard, like challenging. So you're probably going to be challenged in your world. And it's the purpose of that is to grow something better. Self-made. The north node will conjunct my Jupiter at 29 degrees Aries in the second house. What themes would it bring up? My north node is the start of Aries. I love that. Um, well, okay, I love Jupiter in the second house. So this north node conjuncting your Jupiter in the second house is really, really exciting. So it's asking you to, you must self-made SM. You absolutely have to stand in your best self. This is like a double dose of broccoli. So you are being asked to grow something that improves the whole quality of your life, that produces more resources. You might even have an investment that you want to make that could double and triple your income or your worth or your value. This is a giant confidence boosting time for you. And this is a beautification time for you too, where you feel more empowered and inspired. You probably need to have some long walks in nature. The second house is a nature house too. And there's abundance wanting to find you when you step into your higher self, your better self. Now, it's like my workshops because the North Node, right, was in my 10th house. I didn't know my workshops were going to do what they did. I had no idea. I just did my workshop here in Seattle. And then it turned out to be literally awe inspiring and amazing, an amazing experience. But I put that together, right, when the North Node was in my 10th house, but I didn't know what the payout was gonna be, and the payout was emotional payout. It was just so emotionally rewarding. So self-made SM, I'm just saying, take a risk, do something new because you're planting seeds to grow your oak tree. Whatever sprouts or plants when you're having a nodal um, transit, a massive nodal transit, usually lasts for 30 years. So they're a big deal because it won't be back there for another 30 years. You're never going to get this opportunity for 30 more years. You're not going to have the opportunity to have the North Node. I'm never going to have the opportunity. Well, I shouldn't say that. 55, okay, 85 years old, I'll get my next opportunity. But you're not going to have that North Node sitting on Jupiter again for another 30 years. So you want to invest in you. And this is over the course of 2.5 years. It's not exactly, the nodes don't work exactly on that day, right? It takes 2.5 years for it to tell its whole story. Oh, Kendra, thank you. You guys are so sweet. Um, what does it mean to have North Node, Deborah? What does it mean to have a Virgo North Node in the 12th house? It means it means you are literally preparing to be a guardian angel in this lifetime. Mm. Your life is about service, Deborah, about serving others and serving the collective. 12th house issues are really, really, really important. So, what I want you to do is Connie Joe and I just did a whole video on the 12th house, and I want you to listen to that video. But this is the house that you're being asked to grow into. And the 12th house is the house of the divine. So, to develop faith. And when the North Node in Virgo is in the 12th house, it's probably to help the underprivileged, to help those who have been marginalized, um, to stand in your own faith to design, develop, and have a relationship with God, your guardian angels, your spirit guides, walk a spiritual path, understand astrology? That's a very, very, very deep question, but it was a good question. Um, is JB still here? My north node is in Leo at 15 degrees next to my moon at 12 degrees and Venus at 10 degrees. Well, JB, you must be a sweetheart and very creative and very loyal and very passionate. Well, you guys, I have a stellium in Aquarius in the 12th. So much loss in my life, but I feel very connected to another realm. Yeah, Katie, that's exactly what that would bring. A stellium in Aquarius in the 12th. And I think learning how to navigate loss, right? That's the house of endings. Um, and I'm glad you haven't lost yourself. That's really, really good. Don't make yourself invisible. Well, I loved being here with you all. And thank you so much. I'm going to sign off because guess what I'm doing today? I am going to play Top Golf with my nephew who's staying with me for the summer. Is that fun? So we played ping pong in the garage till midnight last night. And now we're going to play Top Golf. I've never played it. I'm probably terrible at it, but I'm going to try. All right, you guys. Well, I will see you over at Soul Navigation and look for my members only videos. They are coming out and my members only party. And if you're not a member, consider becoming one. And I hope I get to see you and meet you in Barcelona. It's going to be so fun. Okay, bye.